What if I told you that the best thing you could do for your soul right now is vanish, not in a reckless or escapist way, but in the most courageous sense possible? I dare you to disappear, to vanish from distractions, from validation, from the noise. Not because the world doesn't matter, but because you do, and the person you could become if you were willing to step away from comfort for just 1 year could change everything. You see, we live in an age where being seen has become more important than being solid. Everyone wants to be heard, to be followed, to be liked, but who dares to be silent, who dares to disappear into discipline, into structure, into becoming something formidable, without applause? Imagine this, 365 days. No aimless scrolling, no superficial approval, no pretending to be something you're not. Just you, face to face with your own potential. That's terrifying, and that's why most people don't do it. But if you did disappear, if you vanished into your craft, into your studies, into your mission, who would you be a year from now? Maybe you'd come back with a stronger spine, a sharper mind, a disciplined soul. Maybe you'd re-enter the world not needing validation, but offering value. This is not a call to isolate. It's a challenge to elevate, to retreat from chaos long enough to build order. Because in that silence, in that daily grind when no one's watching, that's where you find out who you truly are. So I dare you to disappear for a year, not to escape the world, but to re-enter it transformed, and when you return, let your results make the noise. Here are 6 important key points from the speech. I dare you to disappear for a year. 1. True growth requires solitude and discipline. Disappearing doesn't mean giving up. It means stepping away from distractions to face yourself and cultivate real personal development. Disappearing for a year is not about running away from life, but intentionally creating a space where growth can actually happen. In the chaos of everyday distractions, constant notifications, and the demand to stay relevant, people lose sight of who they are and who they could become. To truly grow, one must separate from the noise and commit to a period of focused solitude and discipline. This is the foundation of transformation. When you choose to disconnect from external validation and superficial interactions, you're left with the raw, unfiltered version of yourself. That version is not always pleasant to face, but it is honest, and only through honesty can change begin. This process demands discipline because without the pressures of being seen or rewarded immediately, motivation must come from within. Discipline is what keeps you consistent when no one is watching, when progress feels slow, and when you doubt if the effort is worth it. It becomes your structure when everything else is stripped away. Solitude gives you space to think clearly, to reflect on your choices, habits, and values. It allows you to identify what's holding you back and develop a clearer vision of who you want to become. The year you spend in quiet effort, pushing your limits, learning, building, and refining your character, becomes a crucible for real growth. Most people fear solitude because it reveals their weaknesses, but that's exactly where transformation begins. It's not about perfection, it's about movement. You grow by confronting your limitations, by setting a daily standard, and by sticking to it. A year of disciplined solitude could do more for your life than 10 years of scattered effort. It's in that isolation that your potential begins to solidify into reality, one disciplined day at a time. 2. Modern culture values visibility over substance in today's world. Being seen is often prioritized over being skilled or grounded. The speech challenges this by encouraging depth over attention. In today's world, being visible often takes precedence over being genuinely competent or internally grounded. Social media, instant updates, and the need to constantly share our lives have created a culture obsessed with appearance rather than depth. People spend more time crafting an image than building a solid foundation beneath it. There's an underlying pressure to be seen, liked, shared, and acknowledged, even when there's no real substance behind the attention. This creates a false sense of achievement and fulfillment, where validation from others replaces the internal satisfaction that comes from real progress. When we constantly seek to be visible, we sacrifice time that could be used for developing skills, character, and purpose. Real strength and confidence don't come from how many people see you. They come from how well you know yourself and how capable you've become when no one is looking. Visibility is often temporary, but internal transformation lasts. The speech challenges the idea that being popular or noticed is the ultimate goal. It asks instead, what are you becoming in the dark? When the spotlight is off, are you still growing? Are you still working? Are you still committed? Most people fear being unseen because they associate it with failure or irrelevance, but sometimes the most meaningful work happens away from the crowd. That's where patience, perseverance, and personal standards are forged. It's not glamorous. It's not instantly rewarding, but it's where your character is built. The speech invites you to reject the superficial race for attention and instead focus on what truly matters, becoming someone of value, not just visibility. By prioritizing substance over surface, you prepare yourself for a return not with noise, but with undeniable strength and presence. True greatness doesn't shout. It speaks for itself through results. 3. The greatest transformations happen in silence. The speech emphasizes that lasting change occurs not in the spotlight, but in quiet, unseen, consistent effort. The most powerful transformations in life rarely happen in front of an audience. They happen in the quiet hours, behind closed doors, when no one is watching. In that silence, a person confronts their doubts, their weaknesses, and their potential without distractions or applause. It is in this private space where the real work is done, unseen, uncelebrated, but deeply significant. Growth that lasts is not born from momentary hype or public validation, but from the slow, persistent grind of daily effort. This is where habits are reshaped, mindsets are restructured, and resilience is built. When you remove the pressure to perform for others, you give yourself the freedom to truly evolve. There is no need to impress anyone or pretend to have it all figured out. Instead, you can fail quietly, learn without judgment, and improve without fear of criticism. These moments of solitude are not empty, they are full of opportunity. Every day becomes a brick laid in the foundation of your future self. The discipline to keep going, even when no one acknowledges your effort, is what separates those who merely wish to change from those who actually do. This kind of transformation demands patience. Results do not come overnight, and progress is not always visible. But over time, the silence that once felt uncomfortable becomes a source of strength. You learn to rely on your own judgment, your own drive, and your own sense of purpose. And when you emerge from that period of focused isolation, you bring with you not just new skills or knowledge, but a whole new identity, one shaped not by external approval, but by inner clarity and commitment. It's in those quiet hours of unseen effort where your future is truly written. 4. Disappearing is a courageous act of self-reinvention. Choosing to disconnect and focus on inner growth requires bravery, especially when society constantly demands engagement and validation. Choosing to disappear for a year is not a sign of weakness or escape. It's one of the most courageous decisions a person can make. In a world where people constantly seek approval, praise, and connection, stepping away takes boldness. It means willingly facing yourself without distraction, without the comfort of noise, and without the constant feedback that often defines self-worth. It's easy to be busy, to appear productive, or to chase external goals while hiding from the deeper questions that really matter. But to voluntarily retreat into solitude and structure, to rebuild yourself from the inside out, requires strength and clarity of intent. Most people are terrified of that silence because it reveals who they truly are. When you strip away the external roles, titles, and followers, what remains is your character, your habits, your thoughts, and for many, that can be a painful revelation. Yet, that's where transformation begins. Facing your flaws, your wasted time, your unfulfilled potential. It's not pleasant, but it's necessary. Only through that honest confrontation can you begin to design a better version of yourself. The decision to disappear is not about abandoning the world. It's about stepping away long enough to return stronger. It's about trading comfort for growth, distraction for purpose, and noise for clarity. It's an act of self-respect and personal responsibility. This choice demands that you take full ownership of your time, your energy, and your goals. You build new habits, break destructive patterns, and start acting like the future you actually matters. When you do that, you don't come back needing praise. You come back having earned respect. Disappearing is not quitting, it's transforming. It's a deliberate, brave step toward becoming someone the world hasn't yet seen, but desperately needs. 5. With discipline and purpose, a year can redefine your life. The idea is that one focused year, away from distractions, can completely transform who you are and what you're capable of achieving. A single year, when used with intention and discipline, has the power to reshape the entire direction of your life. Most people drift through time, letting days pass without a clear sense of purpose or commitment. But when you decide to truly focus, to step away from distractions and pour your energy into growth, you begin to experience the compound effect of daily effort. What seems like a short period becomes incredibly impactful when each moment is used deliberately. The idea is not about time passing. It's about what you do with that time when your attention is no longer fragmented by noise. Spending 1 year in focused solitude means choosing to build yourself quietly and consistently. You start investing in your body, mind, craft, and discipline. You learn new skills, strengthen old ones, and strip away habits that no longer serve your goals. There are no shortcuts in this process, and that's exactly why it works. Each day becomes a stepping stone. Each task completed in silence becomes a layer of strength. Over weeks and months, you begin to notice a change, not just in your results, but in how you think, how you act, and how you carry yourself. What makes this powerful is that the transformation is internal before it's external. You stop needing motivation from others because your progress becomes self-evident. You no longer chase distractions because your mind is anchored in purpose. One focused year is not a fantasy or an exaggeration. It's a challenge few are willing to take. But for those who do, the reward is clarity, confidence, and control. You return to the world with something real to offer, not promises, not appearances, but results. A year of intention can redefine your identity and set you on a path that others only dream of. 6. You return not needing validation, but offering value. The goal of disappearing is not to vanish permanently, but to come back stronger, wiser, and able to contribute meaningfully to the world. When you commit to disappearing for a year and dedicate yourself to internal growth, something powerful happens. You stop craving validation from others because you've built something solid within yourself. You no longer need applause or external reassurance to feel worthy. Instead, you return with real value to offer. The time spent in isolation, discipline, and focused effort shifts your mindset from seeking approval to becoming someone who contributes meaningfully. This transition is not just about personal pride. It's about stepping into a new identity that stands on action and achievement, not empty recognition. During the period of intentional disappearance, your energy is no longer scattered. You direct it fully into development, mental, emotional, physical, and even spiritual. You read more, reflect more, work more intentionally, and let go of the distractions that once drained your focus. As each day passes, you begin to build competence, clarity, and confidence that no one can take away from you. This silent effort accumulates, and by the end of the journey, you're no longer the same person who started it. You've become sharper, stronger, and more aligned with your purpose. When you return after that year, you carry the quiet confidence of someone who has done the work. You don't need to tell people what you've become. Your presence speaks for itself. Your results are your voice. The transformation is evident not in loud declarations, but in your actions, your habits, and the depth of your thinking. People begin to notice the change not because you demand it, but because it's impossible to ignore. That's the power of returning with value. You don't come back to prove yourself. You come back ready to lead, to serve, and to build something greater than yourself. That's what true growth ultimately creates, substance over noise. In 2025, transformation begins with radical responsibility. Clean your room, start there. Master the chaos closest to you before criticizing the world. Speak truth, even when your voice shakes. Choose meaning over expedience. Comfort is the enemy of growth. Aim high, structure your days, and face what you fear voluntarily. Discipline your habits, guard your words, and surround yourself with those who want the best for you. Stop waiting for motivation. Act with purpose. Your potential is buried beneath distractions and excuses. Dig it out. Become someone the future can depend on. The world doesn't need noise. It needs strength. Start now.